what is the biggest need on the 49ers right now?
Aside from leadership and
Aside from
non-doodling?
leadership, like on the roster, give me a position group.
Okay. Cornerback. Not even close.
Yeah, they got Fs at corner right now.
Yeah. Cornerback.
How about, I'm going to go in a different direction because we've talked about that today. How about offensive line?
Oh, God. It's a shanda.
Yeah. I mean, they lost Trent Williams and couldn't win a game without him. Now they've lost their left guard, Aaron Banks, who's the second best offensive lineman on the group. And he's going to miss about 2 or 3 games with turf toe. Well, how about a replacement for him? How about some reinforcements on the line?
It didn't even cross their mind, right?
No. It's like we gave them a D for the offensive line. They're cool with that. But we gave their D line a B-, and they're like, oh my God, we're the 49ers. A B- D line, we got to move that up. Like, what about your D offensive line that's banged up?
So, Iggy, let me ask you this. Go from left to right. Who is currently playing for them starting at left tackle? And tell us a little about each guy.
Trent Williams is supposed to come back after the bye week. So I guess Trent Williams, his backup is Jalen Moore, who's no good. He's was a former 5th round pick who is just a backup. Tries hard.
Okay, but Iggy, I thought against Cincinnati that he played reasonably well.
Yeah, until the end when he gave up the hit that snapped Brock Purdy's head on the ground.
Oh, that was him?
That was him.
Okay, all right.
Yes, it was. It absolutely was. Yes.
Okay.
Left guard is Aaron Banks. He's a good, not great player. He's their most powerful offensive lineman. He can push people around. He's kind of like a young Mike Iupati, but not as good. And he has turf toe. He'll be out for the next 2-3 weeks.
And who's going to take his place?
John Feliciano, who had played for the Raiders, had played for the Giants, played for the Bills. He's been around. He can play guard or center. No team really wants him that much. He's a journeyman. So
okay.
He's okay. He's okay. Maybe they could have done better. At center, they got Jake Brendel, who's okay. At right guard, they have Spencer Burford, who's worse than okay. And at right tackle, they have Colton McKivitz, who's a bit of a liability. So that's what they got. They can't run to the right. Everything's to the left. And now their 2 guys on the left are hurt. Trent Williams coming back, Aaron Banks going out.
So it's very interesting. Kyle, who has a lot to say about getting players, is really saying to his defensive coordinator, Wilks, you're not doing a good job, but I'm going to help you. I'm going to get you an edge rusher, and not looking in the mirror and saying, for the last 3 games, I haven't done a good job. Maybe I need help. He doesn't need help because he's Kyle.
Right. He's so good, and it's not his fault. It's Brock Purdy's fault and Steve Wilks' fault. So, Brock, you got to play better, or else they're going to go to Sam Darnold, who's great. And then, Steve, you're clearly not up to snuff, so we'll get you some more talent and make it easy. We'll get you another top 3 pick on your D-line, and hopefully that'll be enough for you. It's so obviously this going over here.
Right.
Yeah. Which to me is a mark of a team that isn't cohesive, doesn't have leadership. This wasn't the culture that Robert Saleh created and D'Amico Ryans carried on. This is not that culture. This is a whole different team. It's a whole different team.
I agree. And, it's interesting, Iggy, when they had their first adversity, losing to this poor P.J. Walker, they collapsed.
Yeah, they did.
Where's leadership?
They did. Like a fighter with a glass jaw.
They are currently a fighter with a glass jaw.
Yeah. And you look at the Jets. They lost Aaron Rodgers in the first drive. That's a team that doesn't have a glass jaw. That's a tough team. And when you talk about head coaches creating a culture, it sounds silly, but that's the kind of stuff they're talking about. Look at the culture Robert Saleh has created with the Jets. That's the culture the Niners used to have and no longer have because he's gone and D'Amico's gone and they didn't. Kyle, I gave Kyle credit for understanding his own limitations emotionally and for having defensive coordinators who could fill in for that. But maybe he didn't get it at all. Maybe he just thought that Robert Saleh was like a really good schematically a smart guy and didn't appreciate all the emotional stuff he was bringing to the equation because right now this Niner team has like no emotion. They're in shock.
He was very distant from Robert Saleh. He never called him Robert. He always called him Saleh.
Saleh.
He did, right? I always wondered about that.
That is very interesting. Nassim says Bosa, Young, Hargrave, Armstead, Warner, Greenlaw. If Wilkes does not work this out week 10, he needs to be unemployed.
I would say that's fair enough.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sam Eastman says, hi, Lowell. My dad, Brent Sr., was a big fan of your work when you were with this SF Chronicle. He loves tuning in for the Cohn Zone every week.
Please tell your dad, Brent, hello.
Please. Adam Paul says, although PP had a bad stretch, watching Jimmy Garoppolo last night made me thank God for Brock Purdy.
I feel the same way. Jimmy is. We were watching together, and we had the sound off because we were eating, and he threw that pick in the end zone, and I looked at Iggy and I said, "Did I just see what I just saw?" And we started laughing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm old. Greg says 2 Cowboys fans talking right here. Yeah, we're definitely Cowboys fans. Mitch says, guys, let's pump the brakes. I vaguely remember the defense struggling in the first year with Saleh and Ryans. Didn't the Niners figure it out? I think the Niners defense was pretty good in Ryan's first year. And when Saleh first took over, they had no talent. KOSCG says, whose idea is it to run the wide 9? Kyle's. Is that what we've been running for the past 3 years? Yes. Is it too late to change? Yes. Too late.
And we want to get into that for a moment. That's a really good point. Poor Wilkes comes in. He has a certain idea about defense, and he's good at it. And Kyle says, you can be my coordinator, but you can't run your defense. You have to run one you know nothing about.
Yeah.
What a position to put that poor man in.
What a position. Absolutely. How arrogant to think that, well, anyone can run this system. He'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We have good players.
Yeah.
They could have had Jim Schwartz. They could have had Jim Schwartz. The Browns hired him this year. If you want a guy who runs the wide 9, how about the guy who pioneered it? But no, he's a little bit older than Kyle, and they have a little history, and he's 9-1 against Kyle. And Kyle wanted him in his organization, piping up, saying, I disagree with that. I wouldn't do that. I could beat that. I don't think Kyle wants that. KOSCG says, oh, got you. The coach. Hey.
Hi,
dueling
Coach.
Doodlers. Hey, Coach. Dueling doodlers, diddling, delving deeply, dodging destinies, dawdling in distinct dreams as they drift, deferring the dynamic duty to direct and dictate. Man, that was some great alliteration, man. Let's do it again.
Thank
it was $10.
You, Coach.
Let's do it again. It was $10. Dueling doodlers, diddling, delving deeply, dodging destinies, dawdling in distinct dreams as they drift, deferring the dynamic duty to direct and dictate. What a shame. I love that.
Oh, I love the coach.
That was poetic.
We're gonna work. We believe that the coach has incredible wisdom, and we're gonna bring this out.
Yeah, you'll see. Chance 099 says Kyle is student store manager who hires only friends. Yeah, and they're all better than him. Daza 0187 says Ezra Cleveland was picked up for a 6th-round pick today. Couldn't we have gotten him? We passed on DeJuan Jones in the draft as well. Do they just not care about the offensive line? I think they just don't care about the offensive line.
Just don't care about it.
Fish and Chip says O-line Kyle would put you in it, wouldn't phase him. He'd put me in it. I'm really not built for that. B. Cruisin says Niners must have a really good hype man to distract people on what they truly need. Kyle Shenanigans needs to go. Sorry, props to you and Papa Cohn.
Thank you.
Andrew says Kyle Shanahan a dinkin' doodler. LOL. Dad, you got him with that doodler.
The doodler.
The doodler. Nolo you says if the Niners don't make the playoffs, is Kyle out? Love you guys. Shalom.
Oh, shalom. He just got an extension. Could we talk about that extension for a minute? I got to tell you, after 3 games, when Jed gave these 2 guys an extension, I said to Iggy, after three games, I said they're going to lose some games. Lose some game. I mean, there's some things going to happen here. How do you give an extension and that's Jed in a nutshell. He's impetuous. He needs someone, whenever he makes a decision, has to be a 24-hour delay. Yes. Someone that needs to say, you need to think about this for 24 hours.
He's got ants in his pants. He can't do nothing. Jed, do nothing today.